Hi everybody, welcome and thank you for being here. If you're someone who is a regular YouTube viewer, not just of my channel but also of a variety of other channels, you will know by now that something very strange is happening to us private, ordinary creators. I watched a video from Andy Signor last night in which he addressed the same thing. Some people are blaming the new algorithm, some like Andy are blaming YouTube Shorts, some are blaming AI, and on and on and on it goes. Sorry, I am blaming YouTube. Surely by now they must know that something is off with their platform. Like many others, I have my own opinion which may or may not be correct. My opinion is that YouTube is fast becoming mainstream media. And I base this on the fact that we see more and more and more mainstream media outlets having YouTube channels. Fox, Sky, BBC, CNN, Al Jazeera, news outlets like NBC News, ABC News, international media like France 24, Deutsche Welle, all use YouTube for, like they say, global reach, to reach audiences outside their local broadcasting areas. Now, I say good for them, but these mainstream outlets have established production, editing, and legal teams, and they are not hopping onto YouTube for free. Believe me, they take up a lot of the advertising revenue. Some of these outlets are also able to run 24/7. Again, we are talking about them absorbing a lot of the advertising revenue. Now, running 24/7 is not something a normal creator can do. So, to say that mainstream media has a tremendous advantage over a private citizen creator would indeed be an understatement. Then we also have many prominent mainstream media reporters and journalists leaving their jobs for their own gig on YouTube. I mean, people like Megyn Kelly, who left Fox News, NBC, for the Megyn Kelly show on YouTube, which is one of my favorite shows, I must say. Don Lemon, who left CNN. Others like Tucker Carlson, Joy Reid, the list goes on and on and on. Dan Wootton, Neil Sean, so many others that my brain had just shut down, okay? Many of them say they left mainstream media because it was too restrictive or too liberal or too whatever. But the point is that no one, not even a celebrity of sorts, actually live on air. No one leaves a steady paying job in this particular industry unless they were fired, suspended, or had some kind of assurance that their income will remain the same or even improve. The other thing is that these people, some, like I said, whom I personally really like, so this is nothing to do with liking or not liking someone or being jealous. No, not at all. We are talking business, money, and fact here. Well, many of these ex-journalists or reporters come to YouTube with an established audience. Something, again, which a citizen reporter or citizen creator does not have. It sometimes takes a year, 2 years, 3, or even more to get to a point where you are monetized. Or sometimes in certain cases it never happens. Now, although everything Andy Signor, for instance, said is valid, the AI, the shorts, and others believe that there's also a certain bias when it comes to the truth, which indeed I also believe. We should also not lose sight of the fact that mainstream media is now slowly but surely encroaching more and more onto a platform which was originally constructed to give the man in the street a platform. It feels as if we are being silenced. I feel as if we are being silenced by being overwhelmed and outnumbered by mainstream media on platforms such as YouTube. I also cannot help but feel that it is indeed deliberate. We should also remember that mainstream media is usually in the pocket of a certain government or government entity, or managed by a conglomerate with its own agenda. Hence, again, we find ourselves in a position where our voices are drowned out by the agenda of a government or a wealthy conglomerate. On the more human side, and I can say that this is indeed true because I am experiencing it myself, and secondly, I have heard the same thing from so many other creators that there is absolutely no denying it. Once you have reached a certain stage on YouTube and you are not lucky enough to have a researcher or cameraman or a sound engineer or an editor or a producer, then YouTube starts to take up a lot of time. You have to avail yourself of the news of the day, make notes, record or narrate and edit, which in most cases also mean cutting in footage to go with the narrative. Depending on where you get your material from, a 15-minute video can take 2, 3, 4 hours or even more if you include uploading it to YouTube, waiting for it to be processed, and then waiting for it to be checked for ad suitability, and so forth and so forth. So, in what I would term the good old days, I would say that was any time before August of last year, there were people like me, like Harsh Reality, like Andy Signor, like Tarot by Andy, and many others who had given up our jobs to do YouTube. And everything was indeed fine until the second half of last year. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I personally received more in remuneration when I had 10 to 20,000 subscribers than I do now with 40,000 plus. Plus, our channels are not moving. Previously, I would gain, say, 243, 196, 44, 501 subscribers per month, per week, sometimes per day, random numbers. And indeed, sometimes I would lose 17 or 117 or other random numbers of subscribers because people didn't like what I had to say or whatever the case may be. But the channel grew from 80 subscribers to 4,001 to 10,000 to 11,000 and on and on and on. And now, for just over a year, nearly 2 years, it is stuck at 43,000 more or less. 43,150, 43,000, I think the highest it went was 359 or whatever, but it stays at 43,000, which is not normal. And like I said, give or take a few. And I'm not the only one. If it was just me, I would have said, okay, I've reached the ceiling of what my abilities allowed. But it is not just me. In private, I have spoken, DM'd, emailed to others, and I have heard from other creators looking for jobs again, creators like me, who suddenly, out of the blue, basically overnight and without warning, cannot pay bills. Like a number of other creators I know or heard from, we are stuck in limbo, not knowing what to do. I was 55 when my channel was monetized. My chances of finding a job at the time was like 10-50 times better than it is now at 62 turning 63. Most of us are starting other ventures on the side to supplement our income, but there are only so many hours per day, particularly if you're also a parent, have a normal household, no housekeeper or anything fancy like that. Like me, a number of creators are unsure where to draw the line, and we will try and hang on as long as we can. But under the current circumstances, not I or any of those I spoke to has any idea how long that will be. Like so many others, I still have a child in my household, a child with potential to become someone, to do something one day, but whose guardian still owes 18,000 rand, or then $1,076 on school fees for the year. Other creators who are currently in the same spot of bother have mortgages, vehicles they are paying off, and some even still have children. So unfortunately, if YouTube does not change something, which personally I doubt they will, then there will be a huge exodus of citizen journalists from the platform. Not because we want to, but because we are forced to. Now I'll put a link to another video or two in my description box of other creators backing my narrative. So you can go watch if you wish. I'm doing it more to prove to you that what I'm saying is not incorrect or my imagination. But like I said, if you want to go watch it, be in the know and be careful what you believe, because clearly even here on YouTube there is now a huge shift towards controlled speech and controlled news. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is all for now. I will be back with royal news a bit later. So until then, take care and stay safe. Bye.